and get you a historic update that we are getting from the Supreme Court. As the live streaming has begun, this is one of the historic moves that is being seen in a bid to move forward towards transparency. This is the live stream of the constitutional bench proceedings from the Supreme Court.
It used to recognize the split minutes when Para 3 was there.
But post 2003, Para 3 goes.
Yeah, 1st of January 2004 minutes, it was removed.
Original political party as legislators, not as members.
Yes.
Legislators.
Correct. Therefore, Manat, the original
that's under question.
Yes. Now, Manat, that means he is a member of the original political party. Now, if he is a member of the original political party, and there is an issue of disqualification that is pending, whether it's pending or not, that's another issue. That again will have to be looked at. Then, if he is disqualified, having voluntarily given up membership of the party under 21A, and having violated the whip under 21B, this all happened prior to 19th of July, when he moved the Election Commission. And your Lordship knows, mothers, in Rajendra Rana, your Lordships have held, the date of the decision will relate back to the act of disqualification. The day when that act took place. Now kindly have a look at the 10th schedule with me. Your Lordship knows, as a matter of law, that when any legislative party and members of the legislative party who are members of the House, the Speaker of the Assembly is conveyed those who are office bearers within the House, namely the whip. Who is the whip? That's conveyed to the Speaker. The whip, the chief whip. They continue to be members of the original political party while that whip is operating. They can't claim themselves to be a faction. So the 10th schedule doesn't recognize that. Election Commission does. The 10th schedule does not. So if you say that you are a separate faction while you are a member of the original political party, according to me, you have given up membership of the party. There is nothing more to be done. Because all of these are admitted documents. This is not evidence.
Therefore, Mr. Sibal, the position really is this, that the 10th schedule post 1/1/2004
All right, so
does
that
not
is the
recognize
judiciary transparency push, Harish, that can be seen as the live streaming has begun of the constitutional bench proceedings from today onwards.
Yes, that's right, Amita. A very historic moment, in fact, because the Supreme Court has commenced the live streaming of Constitution Bench proceedings from today, and they have decided to live stream its proceedings. To begin with, the Constitution Bench proceedings are being live streamed. A big boost to judicial transparency. It in fact infuses a sense of transparency in the proceedings. Remember, in the September 26, 2018 verdict of the Apex Court on petition by law students and senior advocate Indira Jaising, in the judgment, the Supreme Court had allowed live streaming of the court proceedings, and in that judgment, the Supreme Court had said that openness was like sunlight, which is the best disinfectant. So this sums up the spirit behind the decision to live stream the court proceedings. To begin with, the Supreme Court has decided that all cases of national and constitutional importance which are pending before Constitution benches will henceforth be live streamed. So it's a big boost to transparency. And as of today there are three important matters before the Constitution bench. The Maharashtra Sena versus Sena political tussle, which our viewers are watching right now. And number two, the Kejriwal versus LG turf war, the issue of who holds upper hand in the administration of the capital. And the third matter, important matter listed today is challenge to center's decision to grant 10% reservation to economically weaker sections in admissions and jobs. Remember, this very important decision was taken on September 21st by Chief Justice U.U. Lilith, who had presided over a full court meeting attended by all the judges, in which this historic decision was taken. The decision was taken to comment from today the live streaming of proceedings before the Constitution benches. And as I said earlier, in September 26, 2018 judgment, the Apex Court had said that openness was like a sunlight, which is the best disinfectant. Decision by the Supreme Court, full court led by Chief Justice Lalit, to live stream Constitution bench proceedings was taken last week, and it was on a letter by Indira Jaising, who had said that despite a judgment 2 years back, the live streaming had not begun. And in fact, in the letter, Indira Jaising had said a fundamental right to every citizen to freedom of information. So this was what Indira Jaising had cited, the fundamental right to every citizen to freedom of information. So
absolutely.
Today,
so historic leap
Supreme
towards
Court
transparency, as it is being cited, as the Apex Court has live streamed the proceedings through, even when it comes to social media platforms. Later, what is being said that the people will be now able to access the proceedings anywhere that they want to without any hassle. Sanjay Hegde is with us on the broadcast. Sir, good morning. How do you view as far as this latest step? It is history in the making. As the first time since its inception, we are looking at the constitutional proceeding, the bench proceedings that is happening live.
Well, it's the first time as far as the Supreme Court is concerned. Various high courts have started this earlier. It was the Gujarat High Court under then Chief Justice of Gujarat, Vikram Nath. He probably will be Chief Justice of India someday, who started it as far as Gujarat was concerned. And then there were other high courts, including Patna, and clippings from those proceedings were accessible to the public at large, and they were pushed also on social media by various people. So yes, this is a very important step for our democracy, in as much as the public at large can view the proceedings of what happens in important cases regarding constitutional interpretation, which will be decided by the Supreme Court. I personally had experience of webcasting when I argued the hijab matter before the Karnataka High Court. Now, normally, any proceeding inside a courtroom, which was not webcast or telecast, is accessible to maybe 100 people inside the courtroom. But those proceedings in the hijab matter, I believe, went to about 30,000 live viewers, and so many others who viewed it later. This will have profound changes on the way that courts operate, arguments are made. This is a very good beginning, and I hope it continues.
And Mr. Hegde, does it also mean connection with the people there, especially when it comes to the proceedings that are being live broadcasted? Because this is for the first time the Supreme Court that is live streaming at least 3 of those important hearings today that are taking place by the 5-judge Constitution bench.
Yes, there will be a direct connect, and I also hope that whoever is handling the telecast will have switched off the comment section on YouTube, because public participation in the sense of watching the proceedings is good. In the sense of uninformed comment, which may impact proceedings, that is a likely fallout, but it has to be moderated and contained.
No, absolutely. Even when it comes to learning from the live proceedings, that can also happen a lot with the Aam Aadmi Jaisa, because they are watching, and this is some kind of, if you talk about history in the making, that is happening there. Mr. Hegde, what is also being said that there would be an E-committee of the Supreme Court that has also been working to make digital infrastructure of the Indian judicial system more accessible to the people there, sir.
Absolutely. It has been in the works for a long time. Various highly qualified people and highly competent judges have headed various committees. The pandemic has actually helped insofar as advancing the speed of digitization is concerned. We had a lot of virtual hearings. We also got comfortable with filing electronically, transmitting documents electronically, and exchanging documents among ourselves in that same manner. It is anticipated that in the next few months, digitization will get a further push. Right now, the judges are sitting in a physical courtroom. They're sitting together. That's because the pandemic has receded. But there were times when three or two judges would sit in their individual houses. Lawyers would log in from all over the world. And despite the threat of global infection, work went on, life went on. This is both the march of technology and a sign of the times, an adaptation to the requirements of the times. More and more people will, after they study how the court works, may themselves feel inclined towards filing cases in person and maybe arguing them in person as well.
Right, but Mr. Hegde, you know, sir, whenever there are important cases that are taken up in the courts, we either through our reporters or even when it comes to such platforms on social media is when we get those live updates that are coming in from inside the courtroom. Now that we are getting to see and to watch and hear the live proceedings taking place, does it also mean same for the advocates, the senior lawyers there, making them very well aware that they are being watched?
Everybody is being watched, and we must expect to be watched. We perform public functions, and as it is said, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Yes, the drama inside the courtroom will be captured by 3 or 4 cameras inside the courtroom. There's a lot of drama which occurs outside the courtroom as well, which people may not be aware of. There are absolute administrative chaos.
If you can share a few,
it's just like what happens in your television studios.
If you can share a few, sir, because we are all very new to this, just watching this live proceedings happening. What really happens inside the courtroom, sir?
No, inside the courtrooms, of course, what you're watching is what happens. There is a lead counsel, somebody with great seniority. He is assisted by a team of lawyers, some of them who are actually members of his chamber. Some of whom are interfacing with the client, handling the client, and sort of guiding him as to what things have to be put before the judges. See, public attention is often drawn onto the lawyer who is speaking. But a very important game is also played by lawyers who are assisting, who are watching the judge's reactions, and who tell the lead lawyer, no, please pause a bit. Judge so and so has not yet got the page. Judge so and so has a question to ask you. So, quite apart from the lead actor, the understudies are very important.
Absolutely. The live proceedings that are being live streamed from the Supreme Court today, as especially when it comes to the political row there. But Mr. Hegde, if we talk about the important cases there, sir, are we only looking upon as the important cases that are likely to be taken up for this live streaming, sir? Because we are told that 3 important cases, one of them that is currently being taken up today, will be heard and live streamed from the Supreme Court.
Yes, right now the live stream will be on YouTube. These 3 cases have been taken, or today has been taken, to actually test the infrastructure and the court's ability itself to live stream. It will be then upscaled in all likelihood that all proceedings will get live streamed. You see, the Supreme Court is not one courtroom. There's sometimes as many as 14 courtrooms, 14 or even 16 courtrooms at times. So in each court, on Mondays and Fridays, there are some 60 matters which are looked at for the purposes of admission or for rejection of those petitions. Matters, or what happens in a matter, may have other contexts elsewhere. A lot of it is routine work. How much will the public engagement be, or will public engagement be only in big matters, and for how long? That yet remains to be seen. And yes, there has been a media revolution throughout. Your channels used to send in correspondents. Then there were people who were live tweeting proceedings. Those live tweets took over. I do remember that when the original judgment of the Supreme Court came in, upholding Section 377 of the Constitution, I relied on a correspondent who was inside the court who just tweeted, "Oh no." And I was sitting in a TV studio in Noida, and I knew what had happened and which way the judgment had gone. So the immediacy of communication is what all this is about.
But sir, would you believe that it would have an impact of what the Aam Aadmi would be watering on the ongoing cases there? Because of course, if the comment section is off, they would be commenting off the live stream as well. Do you believe that they would be having any impact whatsoever?
Well, they would have their opinion, and they are entitled to their opinion. But the thing is that they would have much more material for their opinion. But you may take a lot of material on board and yet be mistaken. That's the way life is. Yes, the Aam Aadmi will now feel invested in it. But I ask you a counter question. Proceedings in Parliament have been live telecast for a very long time. Despite that, how much public interaction do we really have? Well, the only places where I see that parliamentary channels are being put on is in the houses and offices of the MPs concerned. So it becomes a kind of shortcut to them rather than actually attending the house full time. They go in whenever needed.
About parliamentary proceedings, of course, when the people are watching this, you can also hold the netas accountable in a way. Especially when it comes to if the proceedings are being disruptive, if there is pandemonium, if there is ruckus there, and if it is being adjourned again and again, how much money has been lost, what all decisions have been taken, we can hold the netas accountable.
Yes, absolutely. But you must also realize that people's involvement in parliamentary proceedings really got pretty big, especially when the no confidence motions used to get debated. Mr. Vajpayee's 13-day government possibly came back later for 13 months and for 6 years, primarily because of the speeches that both sides laid out during the no confidence motions. They had a kind of attendance which was more than many of the one-day cricket matches at that point of time. Yes, there are the extent of public involvement gets greater.
Right, sir.
There is a sense of immediacy. Live telecasts are things which you can consume inside your houses and your bedrooms. You almost feel that you are within the premises. So it makes for much greater public participation.
So that means a lot of involvement.
I must contrast this. I must contrast this with the US Supreme Court.
Absolutely. A lot of learning that we are looking at, a lot of involvement that we are looking at. It's a historic move that is currently taking place. We are part of history now there. Mr. Hegde, thank you very much for joining in and sharing your point of view here. The Supreme Court live streaming the proceedings for the first time in a historic move.